Hey there, math compadres. Welcome back. Today we are looking at lesson 6.0.5. So this is the second half of our review lesson on solving multi-step equations. So please make sure that you write the lesson 6.0.5 at the top of the page in your math notebook. Also write the title, Solving Multi-Step Equations. And let's get started. Sometimes more than one or two steps are required to solve an equation. We've gone over one-step equations. We've gone over two-step equations. Sometimes there's more than two, but there are specific rules to follow in these situations. So let's take a look at this equation. It's a pretty extreme example. So this is 7 times x minus 5 multiplied by the quantity 3x minus 12 is equal to negative 2 multiplied by the quantity x minus 15. Wow, that's a lot. You're going to want to write that down exactly as you see it. Now, specific rules for solving these kind of multi-step equations. So the first thing we're going to do, and I want you to write these rules down. All right, the very first thing, you want to simplify one or both sides of the equation, if necessary. Now, it isn't always necessary, but you'll know if it is. The first thing you want to do is distribute, okay? And by distribute, of course, that means if you see a number outside of a parentheses with a quantity inside, you're going to want to distribute. So I'm going to distribute 5 into negative 3x plus 12. So I'm going to multiply 5 times negative 3x and 5 times 12. Also, I am going to multiply negative 2 times x, and I'm going to multiply negative 2 times negative 15. Now, anything that isn't being distributed is just going to come down, like this 7x. Now, 5 times negative 3x is negative 15x, so I write minus 15x. And 5 times 12, positive 5, positive 12, that's positive 60, okay? Then I'm going to multiply the other one. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 multiplied by negative 15 is positive 30. All right, that's distribute. I have distributed the 5 and the negative 2 into the quantities that they are being multiplied by. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to combine like terms. Now, when I talk about combining like terms, I have to look for terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. And looking here, I can only see there's a 7x and I have a negative 15x. Those can be combined on this side of the equal sign, on the left side. So 7x and negative 15x, that gives us negative 8x. And then everything else comes down. There are no like terms to combine on the right-hand side of the equation, so we leave that alone. Those just come down. All right? There. Now, all of the like terms have been combined. Now, the next step is to move variable terms to one side. So I'm going to move anything that's got an x. In this case, it could be a different variable in a different equation, but in this case, there's an x. So I need to move this negative 2x. I need to get it over to the left-hand side of the equal sign. In order to do that, I have to, since this is a negative 2x, I have to add 2x. Now, I have to do that to both sides of the equation, right? Because we have to keep everything fair and equal. Probably want to draw your line down through the equal sign so you know you're only doing one thing on each side of the equal sign. Now, when I do that, this negative 2x and this positive 2x cancel each other out, and I end up with just 30 over here, and negative 8x plus 2x, I don't know why that says multiply, that's not right, plus 2x, there we go. Negative 8x plus 2x is negative 6x plus 60. All right, now I've moved all the variable terms to one side. Fantastic. Now I've simplified everything on each side of the equation. Now, after this, I'm going to use inverse operations and the properties of equality even further to solve the equation for x. Remember our goal to find out what the value of x is. So the next step is that I have to undo the addition or subtraction of any constant terms first. Constants, those are things that don't have a variable attached. I see that I have a negative 60 here. Okay, this positive 60, sorry about that. That positive 60, I've got to get rid of it. So I am going to subtract 60 because that's the opposite. And I subtract 60 from both sides. Now those two will cancel each other out on the left-hand side, leaving me with negative 6x over here, and 30 minus 60 is negative 30. All right, and now the last step, I need to undo the multiplication or division of the coefficient. Now the coefficient of x is negative 6. It is being multiplied, and so I am going to divide by that negative 6. Because that's what's being multiplied by the x. Okay, so those go away, and I am left with x equals now negative 30 divided by negative 6. Negative divided by negative is positive, and 30 divided by 6 is 5. So now we have found the value of x after all that. So we distributed, combined like terms, and moved variable terms to one side in order to simplify both sides of the equation. And then we undid the addition or subtraction of constant terms, and then we undid the multiplication or division of the coefficient. DCMAM, that is our acronym for the steps that we follow. Now, if you want to try to remember DCMAM, another way to do that is don't call me after midnight. It's always a good rule not to call someone after midnight. Don't call me after midnight. I want to write that better. And you can, hopefully that will help you remember. You go to write this down. Don't call me after midnight. DCMAM. But then you have to remember D means distribute, C means combine like terms, M means move variable terms to one side, A is undo the addition or subtraction, and M is undo the multiplication or division. Please make sure that you write these notes down in your math notebook. Let's just work through just a few more practice problems on this, shall we? Here's our first example. We have negative 2 multiplied by the quantity 4 minus x minus 7 equals 5, right? Distribute, DCMAM, DCMAM. Don't call me after midnight. I'm going to distribute negative 2 times 4 and negative 2 times negative x. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Negative 2 times negative x is positive 2x. Minus 7, everything else just comes down. All right. Combine like terms. Do I have like terms that I combine? Yeah, absolutely. I can combine negative 8 and negative 7. Neither one of them has a variable, and so they are like terms. They are constants. Negative 8 combined with negative 7 is negative 15 plus 2x equals 5. All right. Now, moving any variables from one side to the other, we don't need to because all the variable terms are on one side, and so we don't need to worry about that. So now we're going to undo the addition or subtraction of a constant, and I see here we have negative 15, so we're going to add 15 to both sides. Those cancel out on that side, and we are left with 2x over here equals 5 plus 15, which is 20 on the other side. Last step, we want to know what is the value of x, and so we are going to divide by the coefficient, undo the multiplication, divide by the coefficient of 2, and we are left with x equaling 20 divided by 2, which is 10. And there you have it. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Distribution. Yes, there's distribution because we need to multiply the -4 times 1 and -4 times 5n. And yes, that is a -4. So now the n is just going to come down. Now, but -4 times 1 is -4. And -4 times positive 5n would be -20n equals -2. You only multiply by the things that are inside the parentheses. All right, combine like terms. Let's see if we can combine some like terms. I see that I have an n here. Remember, that's a 1n, and I have a -20n. So that gives us, let's see, a +1 and -20. That will be -19n minus 4 equals -2. Okay, now what I'm going to do is move variables from one side to the other. I don't need to because there aren't any, so except for the n, and it's already on one side. I'm going to undo any addition or subtraction, so I'm going to undo the subtraction of 4. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So now I have -19n equals -2 plus 4 is 2. And now I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient. I have to undo the multiplication. So I'm going to divide by the coefficient, which is -19, -19. Those two cancel each other out, and n is equal to, wow, 2 divided by -19. Well, that's fairly straightforward. That's just -2/19. And that one is done. We ended up with a fraction answer, and that's okay. Now let's take a look at the next one. -2/3 multiplied by 6 minus 2a equals 6. So in this one, the first thing I want to do is, let's see if we can get rid of that fraction. And I know a way. I know a way to get rid of that fraction. I'm going to multiply everything in here by the denominator of the fraction that's in the problem. So I'm going to multiply everything times 3. Everything times 3. Now, when I do that, actually on this side, the 3 times, now this is just multiplying everything here because this is all being multiplied together already. So the 3, all that really does is cancel out that 3. And so we're left with just -2 outside 6 minus 2a and equals, now I have to multiply the 3 times the 6, and that's 18. Now that was a kind of a new step that we kind of add in at the beginning. Now I can distribute -2 times 6, which is -12, and then -2 times -2a, negative times negative is positive, 4a equals 18. Combine like terms. There are no like terms to combine on either side of the equation. Don't need to move the variable from one side to the other because it's already on the one side. So I'm going to undo the adding or subtracting of a constant. So I've got this constant here of the -12, so I'm going to undo that by adding 12 to both sides of the equation. And so that leaves me with 4a over here, and 18 plus 12 is 30. Okay, and now if I divide both sides, I'm going to undo the multiplication. Divide by 4, divide by the coefficient, and a is equal to 30 over 4. Now 30 over 4, that's an interesting one. That's going to be 7 2/4, or 7 1/2. And that's okay. All right. Now this last one, you can see that there's distribution involved, and then you'll have to do some combining like terms. And we're just going to get started right away on that. So I'm going to multiply 9 times -5, and that is negative 45. Multiply 9 times negative r, that's negative 9r. And then on the other side, I have to multiply 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10. And then I multiply 2 times negative r, and that's negative 2r. Okay, now combine like terms. There are no like terms to combine. So now I'm going to move my variables from one side to the other. I see that I have a variable over here that needs to be moved to the other side. So I have to add 2r because it's minus 2r. Add 2r. Those cancel out on that side. And so now I have negative 45. Negative 9r plus 2r is negative 7r equals negative 10 because those canceled out. Okay, and now my next step is to undo the addition or subtraction. So I am going to add 45 to both sides. And so I have negative 7r over here because those 45s cancel out. Negative 10 plus 45 is 35. And then now the last step is I'm going to undo the multiplication by dividing by the coefficient. Negative 7 leaves me with r equaling 35 divided by negative 7 is negative 5. So r equals negative 5. So distribute, combine like terms, move variable terms from one side to the other, undo the addition or subtraction, undo the multiplication or division. Don't call me after midnight. All right, I apologize for the length of the video. Here is your practice that goes along with this assignment. Go ahead and pause the video, write those down. I will see you next time. Don't forget to be awesome. Have a great day.